No, you guys, this isn't Drew Jenkins moving out. We all wish. However, what it is, it's showing his shiny new car that Stephanie Thompson claims they don't have a new car. The car isn't new. She made a post about it. That looks pretty shiny. And they're just like loading up their car with donations that they're going to give away. Excuse me. But I remember when I was struggling, and I mean, like, my first baby, I was struggling. I didn't have, like, enough money to donate. I didn't have enough items to donate. What I would do, sorry, I'm getting over a sickness. What I would do is I would take them to like Once Upon a Child or something and try to get some kind of money, or I would exchange them for the next size up. And by exchange them, I mean like I would use that money to buy more clothes for my kids. But the fact that Miss Resilient Jenkins Stephanie can just donate freely like that just shows, I'm telling you, I'm applying pressure. She has money. She really does. And we see right through you, boo. You're just trying to get some brownie points, trying to look good, but we see right through you. That's a tax write-off, hon. That's a tax write-off.
So, Drew Jenkins, TikTok's most unserious father, a man who has somehow made laziness look like content creation. And just when we thought he couldn't make things any worse, he did. This isn't about messy parenting. It's about neglect, irresponsibility, and a man who somehow believes rage baiting is a career while his kids live in one-room motel. Let's break this down. It all starts with the fact that Drew proudly chose to be a stay-home dad. Now, being a stay-home parent isn't a bad thing, but in Drew's case, he uses it as an excuse not to provide financially or emotionally for his kids. He's been under fire for this already, but instead of growing from it, he's spiraled deeper into being an online spectacle. His first TikTok account didn't even make it past a month before getting banned. Why? Because his content was rage bait. He posted videos of himself flaunting a brand new Jetta car while his family was literally homeless, then asked his followers which video game he should play next. No job applications, no updates on how he was going to provide for his kids, just a man, a car, a PS5, and vibes. And that was enough for TikTok to say no thanks. But of course, Drew came back, because nothing says I have learned absolutely nothing like opening another account just to repeat the same nonsense. No pivot, no growth, no reflection, just the same cycle with a different username. Now he's back online, obsessing over hitting 10,000 followers like it's a spiritual milestone, promising juicy life bits as if anyone still has the appetite for his mess. It's like he thinks his life is a behind-the-scenes docu-series that we are all trying to binge. But here's the truth. This isn't Netflix, Drew. This is real life, and nobody's trying to subscribe to your trauma-themed influencer arch. He's acting like follow account is some magical cure for his irresponsibility, and if reaching 10K will suddenly clean up the motel room, put food in the fridge, and suddenly pay bills. But a decadal number won't replace real-life effort. Here's the thing. Joe doesn't need followers. He needs a job. He needs to grow up. And most importantly, he needs to start acting like a parent, not like a wannabe reality star with poor ratings. And when people rightfully called him out on his recycled content and lazy attitude, instead of self-reflecting, Drew exploded. He wrote verbatim, "Bunch of weird people ain't gonna nothing else to do on this app except troll others or trying to get someone banned. Find a damn hobby, doorknobs." Let that sink in. A grown man who has 5 kids and no job called hardworking people with responsibilities doorknobs. The irony is louder than his headset mic. Also, let's talk about that grammar for a second. Who wrote this? Was Stephanie proofreading with her eyes closed? Or was this his raw, unedited masterpiece? Instead of seeing accountability as a chance to do better, Drew treats it like an attack. People are trolls for wanting better for your kids. Drew, there are people who understand that parenting is more than vibes and video clips, and calling out neglect isn't hate, it's advocacy. Plain and simple. Society, doorknob because they called out your neglect? Unbelievable. But let's get into the cringe content he's now producing. Drew made a video of himself cleaning under the pull-out bed his toddler sleeps on. At first glance, you'd think, finally, a responsible parenting moment. But then, the camera pans to what's actually under there, a mess, dusty trash, and a pile of pepperoni sticks. Yeah, pepperoni sticks. Apparently, their toddler, Booba, had been secretly hoarding them. Drew tried to make it a light-hearted moment, captioning the video, found where Booba put all his pepperoni sticks when he thought he ate them all.
When I saw Drew's account, I thought it was a hoax. Like, I really thought it was a parody account. I thought it was somebody just impersonating him. No, this is him. And honestly, he has Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of things. This screenshot down here is him getting a brain blast like Jimmy Neutron. No, literally, he is trying to investigate, I guess, where the smell is coming from in the hotel room. I mean, it's really hard to not find a smell if you smell it being smelly. And it's one room. But let's continue. He then has a brain blast like Jimmy Neutron. And he goes to investigate, and he finds out that his son Bubba has been hoarding. That's right, he's been hoarding on the back of the futon a lot of like meat sticks, which are, I think, like beef jerky. And they have ants. There's an ant problem now. Another screenshot. Yeah, so while they have like pots and stuff on the floor, it's really cool because they're providing a nice little comfortable place for the ants and roaches and all that to sleep. So I think that's pretty fantastic because it gives those little critters a nice comfortable place to sleep.
But pause, they thought he ate them all? That sentence alone is so loaded. These are two adults, jobless, living in a one single cramped motel room with multiple kids. How on earth do they not notice what their toddler is eating? They are not in a two-story house with baby beds and a nursery. They are in a one open room. No walls, no barriers, no excuse. How does Bubba manage to stash food repeatedly without anyone catching on? And think about this. For a toddler to be able to hoard that much food over time, it means this has been going on for a while. It's not like he dropped one snack behind the bed. This was a build-up. That alone should have set off alarm bells. But apparently the adults in that room were either too distracted or too uninterested to notice, which makes you wonder, what exactly are they doing all day if not watching their children? Even more disturbing is the underlying message this sent. Bubba, a non-verbal toddler, is showing signs that are often associated with neglect or emotional insecurity. Kids don't hoard food for fun. They do it when they are unsure when they will eat again or if they are not receiving consistent care. It's not just a quirky baby moment. It's a silent scream that something isn't right. And the fact that Drew made this into a joke for content instead of a moment to reflect on their parenting says everything. Instead of asking why their child feels the need to hide food, he's proudly uploading it like it's cute, like it's funny, when in reality, it's heartbreaking. And what's worse, this isn't even the first red flag. It's just one more in a long list of things they ignore while the internet watches in real time. This is more than just, oops, kids are messy. This is emotional neglect, plain and simple. When a toddler repeatedly hides food in a small, shared space and the adults don't even know, we are way past a parenting fail. We're looking at a deeper emotional wound being silently expressed by a child who doesn't yet have the words to explain what's wrong. Psychologists emphasize that food hoarding in toddlers, especially in non-verbal or delayed children, can be a major sign of emotional distress, food insecurity, or lack of safety. It's a coping mechanism, not a mischievous act. It shows that the child doesn't feel secure that their needs will be consistently met. And in Bubba's case, it's heartbreaking. He's not being naughty. He's trying to survive emotionally in a chaotic environment. This isn't just quirky behavior for views. It's a red flag flapping in the face of anyone paying attention. Bubba's actions are quietly telling the world that he doesn't feel seen, cared for, or safe. And yet, instead of recognizing this cry for help, Drew is chasing the validation from strangers on the internet, thinking cleaning up the evidence is a parenting flex. While Bubba's struggling in silence, Drew is online looking for likes, followers, and engagement. He's not asking the right questions. Why is my son hiding food? What does this mean about how he feels at home? What can we do to help him feel safe and supported? Instead, he's brushing off a deeply concerning issue with a chuckle and a caption. If Drew truly cared about what this behavior might mean, he would be seeking help or at least doing some research. But the fact that the first instinct was to film it, to spin it into content, shows how disconnected he is from his real emotional needs of his child. This is about more than crumbs on the floor. It's about what those crumbs represent: neglect, insecurity, and a child trying to cope in the only way he knows how. Yes, ants. Drew showed us unashamedly the ants crawling all over the motel floor because of the pepperoni stash. You'd think this would be the point where he says, okay, let me clean this up properly. But no, instead of reaching for cleaning spray, a mop, or even asking for pest control help, Drew grabs a roll of paper towels for a full-blown ant infestation. It's the equivalent of putting a band-aid on a leak in a sinking ship. It's careless, lazy, and honestly dangerous for the kids who are sleeping inches away from that mess. And here's the kicker. This isn't even a one-time hygiene issue. This is just a latest in the pattern of disturbing neglect. These kids have already dealt with lice, then fleas, and now ants. What's next? Roaches? Bedbugs? The room their share isn't even big. So it should be easier to keep clean, not harder. The fact that all these infestations keep popping up proves that Drew and Stephanie aren't doing even the bare minimum to keep their children in a safe, sanitary space. It makes you question everything. Are they really that checked out? Or is Drew filming these disturbing, disgusting conditions on purpose? Because the way he frames it, it's like quirky. Like it's a behind-the-scenes moment. It's unsettling. Was this meant to gain sympathy from viewers, or was he hoping it would spark outrage and boost his views? Because showing ants crawling across the floor right where the toddlers sleep isn't just gross, it's dangerous. Ants can bite, they can get into food, they can even climb onto the beds where the children sleep, and still he chose to film instead of fix. So no, Drew, this isn't a dad doing his best. This is a man trying to go viral by showing how bad things really are without doing anything to change them. This is not parenting. That's performance. And the cost of this content? It's your children's health, dignity, and basic comfort. And for what? Likes, engagement, a few thousand views on TikTok? It doesn't scream, I care about my kids. It screams rage bait, served on a dirty floor with a side of denial. And speaking of neglect, let's talk about the older daughter. A child who's visibly carrying more responsibility than some adults. In multiple videos posted by Drew and Stephanie themselves, this girl is seen feeding the baby, carrying them around, rocking them to sleep, and even soothing them during tantrums. All while Drew walks around with his gaming headset glued to his ears, completely checked out. Stephanie is usually seen rearranging groceries or filming, and their daughter, she's quietly taking on a job no child should ever have. She's become the third parent. It's not just once, it's not just a moment of helping out. This is a pattern. And it's deeply concerning. When you see her holding the baby, it's like her sibling and her responsibility. You can feel it. This little girl is being emotionally and physically pulled into an adult role because her parents are too distracted to do this. This girl deserves to be a child. She deserves to run around, draw pictures, throw tantrums, and be cared for, not be the one doing the caring. But in that house, she's growing up fast, too fast.
Drew from the Resilient Jenkins has his account back up, and some things that I noticed that just really send me into a spiral is the fact that the middle child here, I think she said she was 8 years old, I believe that's her, is always taking care of the baby. This is such a huge irk for me because you're over there, first of all, 9 to PS5 Drew is back there with his headset permanently attached to his head, while his beautiful queen is right next to him, can't get like two inches away from him. She's always so close to him. But I see the baby constantly laid like really close to the edge of the futon, or the older baby right there, the 8-year-old watching him. This, like, why have kids if you're not going to take care of them? And why are you going to have your little kids take care of your younger kids? Like, why are you doing this? I don't know. This just really, it just really grinds my gears. Sautés my onions. I don't know.
And the heartbreaking reality is that if this cycle continues, she'll grow up thinking it's normal to carry everyone else's burden. She'll internalize the idea that her value comes from her functioning, from fixing, from helping, even when it's hurting her. Parentification is a real psychological issue. When a child is forced to take on the role of a caregiver too early, it robs them of their own emotional development. And while Drew and Stephanie might not even realize the long-term effects of what they are doing, the internet sees it, we see it. And we know that no matter how many videos they post, no matter how many comments praise her for being a good helper, what she really needs is to be freed from that burden and just be allowed to be a kid. Let's be honest, Joe might never get a job, and at this point, no one's holding their breath. Even if he insists on dodging every ounce of financial responsibility, the very least, the absolute bare minimum he could do is try, just try, be parent, be alert, be a parent in the everyday basic ways. Supervise meals, don't just throw food at the kids and hope for the best. Watch them, talk to them, make sure they're eating and not stashing snacks behind furniture like survivalists. Clean the room properly, not performative wipes for content, but actual cleaning, where the goal is hygiene, not TikTok engagement. Parent his own children children. That means diaper changes, bedtime stories, playing, comforting, guiding, not pressing record, and letting the internet do the heavy lifting. But Drew shines the brightest only when the camera is rolling. He curates moments to appear as the fun dad or the goofy guy just trying his best, and the second the video ends, he disappears into his PS5 like the controller is more important than any child in the room. He checks out, both physically and emotionally. No follow through, no effort, just a loop of digital escape while real life spirals around him. And it's this pattern that's the most exhausting to witness, because parenting isn't about making a scene look good. It's about showing up, even when no one's watching, especially then. But Drew can't even manage that. He's not failing silently, he's failing on film. And worst of all, he doesn't seem to care. And this whole situation is not even new. We've been screaming for the kids' sake for months. Dude just isn't listening. So what will it take? What finally breaks through to a man who thinks internet fame is worth more than his children's well-being? We don't know. But maybe, just maybe, if enough people keep calling him out, it will finally click. Let's talk about it. Let's get loud in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for what's next, because something tells us this mess isn't over yet.